Russian President Putin on the same page over a ceasefire in Ukraine. But he's also trying to bully Russia with tariffs and sanctions while also threatening its trading partners like India. Remember, he has threatened quote-unquote secondary tariffs of up to 100% on countries continuing trade with Moscow. India has faced much of this ire publicly after being slapped with a 25% rate already. But even as Trump emissary is in Moscow and is meeting Putin, Indian NSA Ajit Doval is also in Moscow to discuss defense and security cooperation, signaling India's intent to maintain its long-standing relationship with Russia despite the current US pressure. Kremlin has also condemned, by the way, US threats, asserting that sovereign nations have the right to choose their trading partners. Under the circumstances, against the flow of the past couple of decades, has Trump managed to permanently damage India-US ties? Has he set back the momentum for many, many years to come? Or is it that the American turnaround only a temporary phenomenon till Trump is in office? Has India's trust eroded, and if so, to what extent? That and more coming up with our guest joining us in just a bit. First up, we do focus on plain speak today on NSA Ajit Doval's visit to Russia. Is this a message to Trump and the American administration that has been trying to villainize India because of this war in Ukraine? Next up, have no lessons been learned as far as the hill terrains in India are concerned? Yet another cloudburst related flash flood claiming many lives and displacing scores others. Later on the show, we'll also get you how the Prime Minister has unveiled Kartavya Bhavan. We're waiting to hear more from the Indian Prime Minister on this and more in just a bit. Ajit Doval's Moscow trip isn't just diplomacy. It's a clear message to Washington that India will choose partners based on national interest and not pressure. He is in Moscow for strategic talks with the Russian officials. First up is energy cooperation, discussions likely to include India's continued imports of Russian oil, which have been a point of much contention. Defense and security, strengthening the defense ties and exploring new areas of collaboration. Strategic partnership, reinforcing the long-standing India-Russia relationship amidst external pressures of the kind that we're witnessing globally. But remember, Ajit Doval is not the only one in Russia. Vladimir Putin hosted US President's special envoy, Steve Witkoff, at the Kremlin. And this visit is also significant because this is a push to secure a ceasefire in the Russia-Ukraine war before August 8 deadline that has been set by Trump. A last-ditch effort, if you may, to prevent the 100% plus US tariffs that have been threatened on Russian exports, and to prevent those secondary sanctions on trade partners like India that I have mentioned. US is mounting pressure on both, and India and even countries like China. Overall, he's upset with the entire BRICS collaboration for their continuing trade with Russia. It is also to revive US-Russia diplomatic channels by rebuilding formal ties, reopen embassies after years of isolation. At a time when former US President Donald Trump is accusing India of imposing unfairly high tariffs, the data actually tells a different story. India has been one of the nations who has significantly reduced its tariffs over the years. So from 1990, take a look, India's average tariff was a staggering 80%. It was reflective of a closed, protectionist economy then. But following the economic liberalization in the 1990s, tariffs have gradually come down, falling to 33% by 1999. By 2023, the simple average tariff had dropped to 15% or so, far lower than the 1990s and steadily declining. In fact, the trade-weighted average tariff, a more realistic measure based on actual traded goods, was just about 5% in 2023. So what is this singling of India all about? Even today, Trump continues his rhetoric that India has unfair practices, accusing it of being a tariff king. But the facts on ground tell a very different story. In January 2025, in fact, India implemented significant tariff reductions on a range of high-profile US exports, many of which had long been points of contention in bilateral trade talks. So motorcycles above 1600cc reduced from 50 to 30% tariff on those. Motorcycles up to 1600cc cut from 50 to 40. Bourbon whiskey slashed from 150 to 100. That's 1/3. Carrier grade Ethernet switches halved from 20 to 10%. Synthetic flavoring essences and mixtures steeply reduced from 100 to 20%. Fish hydrosalate lowered from 15 to 5%. So it isn't as if India hasn't been moving forward. As criticism mounts over India's agricultural tariffs, particularly from the US, in context of the recent trade deal negotiations as well, it's important to set the record straight. India's farm tariffs are not an outlier, but rather, with many global economies, it is one of those that prioritize food security and farmer welfare. We are not alone in this. In fact, other countries can have, in many cases, much higher tariffs than us. So why this singling out? And is this why India is not taking this anymore? So the average in India is 33%. The maximum can go up to 110 or 150%. But in European Union, it is up to 260%. In Japan, it's up to 300% in some cases. South Korea, over 800 on some items. So again, the only question that begs an answer from Donald Trump right now is, why are you singling out India? And why are you trying to poke India by also cozying up to Pakistan? And with that, has Trump really lowered the trust level to such an extent that this could permanently damage India's ties? We also debate with our guests in just a bit how India will navigate the partnership with both Russia and US.
I don't know anything about it. I'd have to check, but we'll get back to you on that.
घबरा क्यों रहे हैं? इतने दुर्बल हो गए हैं, पार्लियामेंट चला नहीं पा रहे हैं, ट्रंप जी का सामना नहीं कर पा रहे हैं, क्या हो गया है?
Let's go across to our guest joining us. Sushant Sareen is Senior Fellow of ORF. I'm also joined by Veena Sikri, former diplomat, Siddharth Yadav, spokesperson of the BJP, and Nishant Anand from the Congress party also with us. Let me first take up the broader question with our experts of just how badly have Trump antics damaged India-US ties. Sushant, I begin with you. A lot of people talking about how the trust level has plummeted. It had taken many decades of good diplomacy for those trust levels to come back. You could argue that this dispensation is more pro-US than any in the past, and yet this has happened. Do you think this has permanently damaged US ties to some extent?
I think it has seriously affected the trust factor with the United States. There has been a lingering doubt among many people in India on how much we can trust the United States. A lot of it is historical baggage, but I think this episode would have only strengthened that feeling among a range of Indians that, look, if today on a whim and a fancy you have the president in the United States who can shift the goalposts, there is no certainty of dealing with them. If he gets up from one side of the bed, he will say something. If he gets from another side of the bed, he will say something else. If somebody gets his ear, on whatever pretext, he will simply turn his policy around. There are no checks and balances in the US system left anymore, where somebody can check his capriciousness. And if it was only a matter that, Donald Trump is an aberration and things will be set right after this, I don't think anybody can say that with any degree of certainty.
Yes.
Because the mad MAGA crowd is back. And there are a whole range of people who are waiting to succeed Mr. Trump, who could be of a similar persuasion as him.
Yes.
In a situation like this, how much trust do you put in the store of the United States, especially on critical defense, security, and strategic matters? Can you really depend upon them So, for example, if we have a defense relationship with them, which we increasingly were moving towards,
Yes.
if tomorrow suddenly somebody turns around and says, "Okay, fine, I'm not going to give you the spares for the choppers or the aircraft that you're flying, or for the guns that you're buying from me, or some other fighter jets or whatever, which are also being proposed that India should buy from them," they certainly say that, "Okay, no, we will not let you use these fighter jets against Pakistan, but you can use them against China."
Exactly.
I use the defense equipment against the country from which I have a problem, right? I will not use that defense equipment because you tell me to fire it on somebody else. If you want to fire on China, you fire on China.
Absolutely.
Why do you?
In fact, on top of that is the issue where even the promises, maybe promises is too big a word, but at least the assurances that we would have expected from US on Pakistan front, on the issue of Pakistan, even those seemingly are going backwards, and that really is a very big red line, because if you don't understand our relationship and our problems with Pakistan, a country you fund and promote, you have no business telling us whether we can trade with Russia or not. It's not even a matter of principles, because yes, most of it doesn't run on principle, but certainly there is a trust problem here. Veena Sikri, I want to take your view as well before I move on to what the Indian government could have done differently and whether there is any criticism valid of the Modi government. What do you make of the recent plummeting? Do you think this is indeed something that we might not recover from for a very, very long time?
No, I would like to take a more balanced view. I agree that this has been a very difficult time for India-US relations, because the Trump tariff mania, it's a real tariff mania, because he thinks he can impose these tariffs. It's not just on India, it's a global phenomenon. That's the first thing to realize. His own allies are facing tariffs. I mean, whether it's the European Union or Japan or South Korea, they are facing equally unreasonable behavior on tariffs. So it is a mega issue for the whole world. And we do see all kinds of reactions coming. Like today, for example, President Lula of Brazil has, President Trump sent a message, "Why don't you call me? We'll talk about tariffs." So he tells President Trump, "No, I'm going to talk to Prime Minister Modi, and I'm going to talk to the President of China rather than talk to you." So this is a global phenomenon. Why it's happening, why this advice has been given to President Trump that this is the way out to revive the American economy, I think even within MAGA, there are differences on this. And the differences are building up. Just yesterday, we saw a statement from Nikki Haley,
Yes.
who is Republican, and she was a presidential candidate. But she has said, "Why have you given China a 90-day pass, and you are, coming down on India in this way?" So I think we have to take a balanced view, and the government has taken a balanced view.
So is this about weathering the storm for now, which is the Trump presidency?
No, I think there are two important aspects to it. First is India is, coming down strongly on its own policy of strategic autonomy. We are following this up. We are diversifying. We are doing our relationship with different. You know that Mr. Doval is today in Russia. And we have other economies. So the strengthening of the Indian economy, this is a vital factor. For this, if you have to diversify trade, we will do it. If you diversify investment, we will do it. So this is a very important factor. The second factor, as you've seen in the Indian response, the Indian statement which came out day before yesterday evening, is very significant and very strong, because it has directly called the tariffs as unjustified and unreasonable, and it has pointed out that actually the USA is continuing its trade with Russia, which is now more than $1 billion. Somebody think $2 billion. It was much higher earlier, but now it's come down to this. And it includes things like fertilizers, uranium, palladium, titanium, and other chemicals. The EU
So do you think this will work? Do you think Trump will come around?
It
before
has
it's
to
too
be
late?
a combination of everything, and it has to also be a factor where America realizes the importance of the Indian market for them. So it has to be mutually beneficial, and in that sense, mutual deterrence. So if they want to put pressure on India, there is also the counter pressure of the Indian markets, the Indian investment. Now, for example, the Indian-made Apple iPhone is going to sell in America with tariffs. The cost is going to go up to the American consumer. Now, this cost, the increased inflation in America, this is not yet.
But as you very rightly said, this is a global phenomenon, and since this Trump tariff policy started, many people have pointed this out to him, to his administration globally. It hasn't really deterred him. So my wondering is whether all of this is going to have an impact on a character like Trump or not.
No, I think that we have to wait this out and use our
Okay.
counter pressure as many as we have, and we are doing that. I think it's a correct policy. I think it's a very, very well crafted and seriously crafted policy. It's not casual. It's not knee jerk. It's very serious.
Okay.
And I think it will have impact. It is having impact. Now you just see that if we are arranging our talks and visits with Russia and other countries, our Prime Minister is going to China for
Soon,
the SCO
yes.
summit, and he's probably going to visit Japan as well.
Yes.
So all talks are done. At the same time, we are keen to have the Quad summit in India, and we hope that President Trump
Okay.
will come to India for the Quad
Let
summit.
me- let me come back
And I want to point out one point also about the Pakistan issue. This again is a kind of a revival of an earlier phenomenon which was very prominent in American politics earlier, and it's suddenly been revived. Where President Trump got this advice from is difficult to understand. But I think that there too, we are not overreacting to it. We're taking it very calmly, and as we have done many decades ago, and we will continue to do, we will continue to use our counter pressures on that. And I don't think
Okay.
that this aspect of suddenly making Pakistan the flavor of the month or the flavor of the week in America is going to derail India's own interest.
All right.
Now,
Then why is it that the Indian opposition in India, particularly Rahul Gandhi, Nishant Anand, is attributing all kinds of motives or, making innuendos about why the government is quote unquote not taking on Donald Trump? Rahul Gandhi has tweeted again suggesting that there is more than meets the eye, despite the fact, as all experts are pointing out, one, this is not a new US hegemonistic behavior. We have faced this in the past. Certainly those links that Rahul Gandhi is trying to draw now didn't exist then. Secondly, this is not just about India. Canada, Brazil, China, Russia, even other trading partners of the US have all faced demeaning language plus these pressure tactics from Donald Trump. So why is it that Rahul Gandhi is taking a completely different line, showing doubt in the minds of the Indian public instead of standing up with the Indian government for now?
Good evening to everybody. See, I'll start by saying Modi is a weak prime minister, and which is why India is being humiliated every single day. I'll give you a few points in which has happened in the last 6 months since President Trump has come. See, first of all, he has said 34 times that he broke the ceasefire. Point number 2, he invited Munir for a lunch in America. Point number 3, Trump has hypernated and दोनों इंडिया एंड पाकिस्तान एक ही तराजू में वो तोल रहा है. He's been equalizing both the prime minister of both the countries. Trump imposed high tariffs on India. Trump has sent Indian students back handcuffed. Now, Trump tried to block Indian students from Harvard colleges as well.
But
Trump
it isn't
has
just Indian students now. You are not making your point when you claim that this is just happening to India. That's exactly what Veena Sikri just talked about. This isn't
See,
just
we are-
about India. When it comes to that Harvard policy or sending back illegal immigrants into
Let me complete
US,
myself.
it isn't just about India.
Okay, so I said I'll give you 10 points, and you're picking up just 1 point. I'm saying Trump reworked Indian American IT firms against creating jobs in India. Trump threatened Apple against manufacturing in India. Trump has openly criticized the H-1B visa program, which is adverse for Indians. Trump has added remittance charges for India. So from the last 6-7 months, he has told more than 15 times that Modi, I am not your friend. But we should remember that Modi clearly said he's my friend. He did everything possible for Trump. Howdy Modi from everything. Today, Trump is telling every 10 days that Modi ji, I don't care about you, and he's
Okay, no,
humiliating
fair
Indians.
enough. That
One
criticism
last
is
step.
fair enough. But I'm asking you particularly about what Rahul Gandhi, for example, has tweeted today. Today, he suggests there is some larger conspiracy involving Indian industrialists and others, which is why Narendra Modi is quiet.
Let me answer that.
Now, this
Let
is
me
one
answer
second.
that.
Can I just remind you, multiple times Rahul Gandhi has been lambasted by the Indian courts, has been convicted once as well for making these statements. Again, there is literally no proof for saying this.
Okay, so you need to understand why is Modi ji quiet from last 7 months.
Yes.
Why these 15 points that I gave, Modi ji is not able to answer to Trump. There is a reason for it.
Yes.
The reason is Adani case has started. The file has started moving in New York, and in the next few days, few weeks, you will see that Trump will, as soon as Modi ji will answer Trump, Trump will make sure that he starts the case he has stopped for
And
Adani.
you
So
have
that
been told
why,
this by whom?
ma'am, I have lived in US for 6 years. I have studied from the Howard College in Boston. I don't want to say who has told this to me. If you go on Google, you open New York
Google has
journals.
told you. Okay, all right. Let
No,
Siddharth Yadav respond to
ma'am,
this.
see,
Let
no, ma'am,
Siddharth
I
Yadav
said if
respond to
no,
this.
let
You have
me
made
let
your
me
point
tell you the
now,
correct thing.
Nishant. You have
Ma'am,
made your point now.
you can't interrupt me in between. I said Google, then put New York journals. It has been updated 28th of April that the case has been held and 6 months later date has been given.
Okay.
So I'm a practicing lawyer in India, ma'am. So
So
whatever I'm
2
telling you
plus
is on
2.
the facts,
2
not on
plus
Google.
2 is 4 here. And
Modi
you.
ji is a weak and a failure prime minister. 2 plus 2 is not Chauthi pass prime minister. It is why India is being humiliated every single day. That is
Okay.
why from the last 6 months, Modi is quiet. BJP is quiet on every
Okay.
single issue.
Let Siddharth Yadav respond to this now. Siddharth Yadav,
Please let me respond.
I think you know the questions. He's pointed out
Shivani,
about the fact that
no, I
all
just
of the
want to
Modi
yes,
diplomacy,
yes.
all the diplomacy, none
Sorry?
of that has worked. You've not really managed to get America on your side despite so much capital, and one can argue, but personal capital being invested by Narendra Modi into this relationship.
Shivani, in Rahul Gandhi's Pathshala, 2 plus 2 is not 4. 2 plus 2 is 2000. We don't know what he can come up with, what his team can come up with. They live in a wonderland and they only know what goes on in that wonderland. But the unfortunate part is that the Congress party has belittled our foreign policy like anything. There is a language of diplomacy. That language of diplomacy which a nation adopts has to be taken in consideration, and that is how nations respond. Nations cannot be like Rahul Gandhi. They can't be speaking anything and everything and then getting bashed by the courts by saying that there was no proof and yet we said it. But Rahul Gandhi, I think, thinks differently. But what surprises me more is the peculiar nature of the opposition in our country, which just wants to celebrate any decision which affects Indian interests by highlighting it as, oh, Modi kyun nahi kar paya. This is the entire contention. Now, there was a list which my learned friend from Congress party was highlighting. None of them, no single item which he highlighted was something which was targeted specifically for Indians. If he is saying that in Harvard University foreign students are not allowed, no foreign student is allowed. If H1B visa is being differently catered, it is being differently catered for everybody. If investments, tariffs, anything you say, but no other opposition you would find as an example of any part of the world which would have the same arguments as the Congress party in this country.
While that may
and
be
that
true,
is my real
Siddharth,
problem.
while that
the
may
government
be true,
has taken
while that may be true that, for example, in Canada, the kind of language that was being used by the US president was quite demeaning. Even Canadian opposition stood up against him. Fair enough. But what is also true is the leaders of the other states are also standing up directly to Donald Trump. I think the Congress party's contention that we are hearing from ministries, we are hearing from officials, but we're not hearing directly from Narendra Modi, who has a reputation and a rapport with Donald Trump. Is that not a fair criticism or demand? Other leaders are doing it.
No, I don't think so, Shivani. And that is why I said that there's a language of diplomacy which a country has to follow. If Congress party thinks that a prime minister of our country has to come out and say, Trump galat kar raha hai, Trump ne aisa kar diya, that is not the language of diplomacy. India has given out such a strong message. Has one read what the Indian External Affairs Ministry has put out? We have put out categorically that we would not bow down to the US and European Union's targeted policies, to their targeted statements. Nation's interest and our people's interest is our priority, and we will follow that. That is what a country, which a mature country, a fourth largest economy.
Siddharth, just simple point. If a leader gets credit for good things that happen between two countries, the leader will also get flack or questions when that relationship breaks down.
But has the relationship...
And that is why
I'm coming to you next.
Now, I do not think that any relationship has gone down. Number two, I do not think that if there are potentials in, say, foreign policy and diplomacy, that things can go south anytime. No, should a leader not attempt to build relations? What do we expect? Should we not, as a country, when things are nice, try to build relations? And have we not gained with those relations? We definitely have so. What
Okay.
are change in, the warmth in our foreign policy in the past after Prime Minister Modi has taken over with so many countries has given us so much that one can't imagine. I have a list, long list of how things have changed
Okay.
and how it has benefited our
No,
country.
fair enough.
But
In
I
many
do not
countries, it
understand
has
this
made a
argument of
difference.
the opposition,
Maybe in
which
US's case,
which
it has
come down
turned
and says,
sour.
I'll just take 10 seconds. I'll wind it up, Shivani. I'll just take 10 seconds. I do not understand this argument when the opposition comes out and says, oh, Trump is doing this with the entire world. Oh, but what happened to Modi? Modi was saying as a friend, should the Prime Minister not try to build relations with America? That is my core question. And I ask this as a citizen of this country. So this entire, the phonetic thought process of the opposition, the conspiracy thought process of the opposition, now also my friend from the Congress party is coming up with some conspiracy. Something is happening. If this happens, something will that come out of the wonderland. Get some
You do not
maturity.
interrupt the BJP
That thank God our
spokesperson. I
country's foreign
speak for
policy and
20 seconds, you
diplomacy
interrupt
is
me.
not governed by
he's been speaking
by the
for
likes of
5
Rahul
minutes, you don't
Gandhi.
interrupt
If
him.
you had the
You
charge,
don't
what would you
interrupt
have
him.
done?
You
So
don't interrupt.
I requested that you must have some maturity and the opposition should show that maturity. We have given out a very strong message.
Okay.
The country stands united. There is only one
Veena
priority,
Sikri wants
and
to
that
come
is
in,
the
then I'll
interest
bring
of
in
the people of
Sushant
India.
Sareen as well.
That's
Veena
it.
Sikri, this is the question that has been asked multiple times. Opposition is asking is, and as
Video okay,
journalists and as in the media, we are also asking this. You are the expert here. Should the Prime Minister directly take on what Donald Trump is dishing out?
I think no, absolutely no. There is no need for Prime Minister Modi to enter into this argument directly because it is a matter that we are discussing and we have rebutted in the Ministry of External Affairs statement 2 days ago very clearly on facts and figures. So these facts and figures speak for themselves. There is no need for Prime Minister Modi to enter into any polemics which can be further misunderstood or deliberately misunderstood by not necessarily by President Trump but by others. So this is a very correct path of following a quiet diplomacy of
Opposition claims this is presenting India as weak to the world.
No, absolutely not. In fact, let me tell you, like I spoke to you about Nikki Haley, but there's so many others who are speaking in favor of India. Americans, American commentators, American economists, American writers, they are speaking that why is President Trump trying to do this? India-US relation is one of the bright points. India is going to be the third largest economy in the world. How can President Trump call India a dead economy?
Okay.
Now, this is the fact being rebuted.
So others are doing our job. We need not get dirty. So Sushant Sareen, I want your view on this.
We must be in touch with so many people.
Okay.
We have so many layers of contact, so many layers of friends. We must be in touch with so many. It's not necessary for Prime Minister Modi to enter into this kind of...
I want Sushant's view on this. Russian president can do it. Brazilian president can do it. Canadian president can do it. Why can't India do it?
Okay, so Shivani, I think, we are trivializing diplomacy, and I'll give you an example. In 1979, the Soviet Union, the then Soviet Union, invaded Afghanistan and occupied it. In 1980, there was a change of government in India. Mrs. Gandhi became the Prime Minister. Now, please remember, in the 70s and 80s, we had very, very close relations with the Russians. Yet, India did not like what Russia had done or the Soviet Union had done in Afghanistan because we felt it would be extremely destabilizing. What did we do? Did we go to town? Did Mrs. Gandhi or the previous Janata government under Charan Singh go to town and abuse the Russians and ask them to get the hell out of Afghanistan? No, we didn't. What we did was that when Mrs. Gandhi became Prime Minister, the then Russian Foreign Minister Alexei Kosygin, and I'm sure Ambassador Sikri will bear me out, had come to India on a visit, and his pants were literally taken off behind closed doors on what the Russians had done. And our displeasure was made very, very apparent to them. But because we had other bigger fish to fry, we did not go to the extent of, joining, with the critics of the Soviet Union at that point of time to berate them publicly.
Okay.
Now, something similar is happening now. There are other interests of India involved with the US. Now, as an individual, I might feel that, give him the typical Delhi, Punjab, Haryana language, mother, sister, father, brother, everything. Ask him to bring it on and dare him and, do all of that, which we do on Gurgaon streets and on Thar cars. Do all of that. Is that the way we want to conduct our diplomacy? I think the way we have done it is, one, silently we've dug in a our heels. Diplomatically, we are giving messages that, okay, fine, if this is the game you want to play, the the National Security Advisor, has gone to Moscow. I believe the foreign minister is also be likely to go. The prime minister, apparently, just now we are hearing, is likely to go to
China and
China for the
Japan. Yes.
summit. I think this is a very important signaling. One. Second, what we have started doing is that we are engaging with a whole lot of other countries. And then finally, at the level of the ministry, I think we are digging in our heels and we are issuing the kind of statements and signaling where we stand, that we are not budging. There is a done deal already, Shivani. There is a done deal. The draft has been presented to the American president. India had shown enormous flexibility on the trade issue, and yet there are going to be some areas, unless it's the Congress spokesperson's contention that we should now be, opening up everything and trying to please Donald Trump. So Donald Trump
We have
calls
already
Modi,
done that.
Modi calls
We
Donald
have
Trump
already
his
done that.
friend. But are we going to put that friendship above the interests of our own country and our own people? We are not. So we are digging in his heels. And if Trump thinks that Modi is my friend and Modi should genuflect before me and Modi is not doing it, I think we should be happy that our Prime Minister is not selling out the interests of this country.
Yeah, it's the way you read it. You can read it the way you're saying it. The opposition, the opposition can also read it in a way that despite all the capital invested in the US relationship, somehow we've not managed to read the room as some are claiming.
Shivani, give me a sentence before Mr. Anand comes in.
Yes.
Look, what do? You try and, go whole hog to develop a relationship, to develop, a kind of bona fides with the other party and establish friendship with them. Now, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. This time it hasn't. Now, you want to hold it against the Prime Minister. What happened to that? You want to take jibes at him and you think you are being very profound in doing that and you are upholding national interest. By all means, go ahead and do
Let him
it.
respond now. Let him respond now. 30 seconds to Nishant and this Siddharth.
Yeah, hi. See, I heard both the spokesperson, BJP, and the other person. See, we need to understand we are not asking Trump to fight with Modi to try and fight with Trump. We are asking him to answer and reply back. It's been 7 months, 34 times. Every day Trump gets up, he humiliates India. Now, we talk about foreign diplomacy. We are asking when our students came back, handcuffed, there should be an answer from India government as well to the Trump. There has been restrictions on visa. If you talk about other things that I informed, 15 things, every time US is trying to humiliate
there should
India,
be answers for it. I got your point.
Now, one
Sir,
more
I have
thing.
limited time. I got your point.
5 seconds. 11th of August in New York court, Adani case is filed for the next day. It's 11th of August. You will get the new update, and I'm sure we will be in the news debate on the 11th.
Okay,
it's on 11th of August.
Fair enough. Okay, Siddharth, please respond. There are no answers, clear answers that come from the government on whatever happens.
No, Shivani, again, I would wish to reiterate that, diplomacy works in a way which is different than probably the understanding of the opposition. I do think that they understand it well, but to politicize the same, they wish to raise some questions. There are a lot of layers in a government. We engage on different layers. We just do not engage at the top level. And we have signaled, we have engaged, we have given clear messages, which America does understand. It is not like they don't understand. They do understand the clear message. We have categorically put it on the floor of our house, the place which is most sacrosanct. We have mentioned that no conversations happened, there was no trade deal, nothing of that sort. America does understand that, and when we do so, when we are also doing a signaling, when we are engaging at different levels, while we do that in a diplomatic manner, trying to also maintain the relations that we do, I think the opposition should get some come out of their fiasco of politics and come out of their interests, their own self-interest, and put nation's interests first, as we have done so.
Okay, I have limited time. 30 seconds.
We would preserve the Indian interest.
Okay, fair enough. The government would be judged on that. Sushant, I only have 30 seconds. Very quickly, are you concerned that now H1B visas, which predominantly go to Indian talent, are coming under the threat of this entire MAGA camp? There is almost a campaign being run now that India should be quote-unquote shown its place and we should cut it out. Are you concerned with these kind of voices in US? Very quickly, sir.
Clearly, there's something. Some things are going wrong in the US. But Shivani, I look at it differently. My point is that I'm not going to put the interests of 1.4 billion Indians for the sake of 60,000 Indians who might be going, or even less number of Indians who might be getting H-1B visas. I think our priorities should be clear. Number one. Number two, if we have talented guys who can go on H-1B visas, why do we not create things and facilities in India so that these characters can bring their talent to make India great again? And this is one of my big problems with the government. But I just have one question to Siddharth. Please allow me to ask. My only part where the BJP silence is jarring is not a peep out of these guys on why we are playing cricket with Pakistan in Asia Cup.
Okay.
Not
Siddharth,
a peep out of
you want to respond to that?
No, I understand the feeling behind this question, and the feeling is shared across the board. I think, we all know the structure of BCCI. We also know the structure of the international championship. The government has not taken a decision on this yet, and I'm also personally hopeful that a decision which resonates with the feeling across the board would be taken in time. But we know the structure, how cricket works, how this is, how sports is different from politics. We all know that. But the government has resonated in the past the feelings of the countrymen.
Well, this topic deserves its own show. Maybe I will do one. And Sushant, I'll invite you. Hopefully the BJP will join when we do. I do thank all of our guests for joining us. Turning our attention to the massive cloudburst that hit Kheer Ganga catchment area on August 5, resulting in flash floods that swept away homes, hotels, a lot of the other infrastructure, including a road linking Uttarkashi with Gangotri, leaving tourists and locals scrambling for safety. Indian Army's Ibex Brigade, joined by NDRF, SDRF and ITBP teams, are carrying out rescue operations. Authorities deployed cadaver dogs, drones, satellite phones and earth-moving equipment to aid rescue amidst these blocked roads and landslides. Uttarakhand Chief Minister Pushkar Singh Dhami also visited disaster site, overseeing relief operations alongside the central government support. In Delhi, Prime Minister Narendra Modi earlier today met Uttarakhand MPs and took stock of the situation as well. First up, let's tell you about the disaster that sent shockwaves. It happened at 1:45 p.m. on August 5. It happened in Dharali village in Uttarkashi. This was a cloudburst that triggered flash floods, and the visuals, of course, speak for themselves. Entire village was impacted, including homes, hotels, all being washed away, standing structures being washed away from their foundation. 5 dead have been confirmed, but over 100 are still missing in Dharali. Rescue operations are underway. Over 140 have also been rescued. But there are challenges. Challenges are the persistent rain. There are blocked roads due to debris and many landslides. The big risk is the Bhagirathi river flow that has been blocked, that needs to be taken care of. 300-meter wide temporary lake has gotten formed because of the movement of the water and the sludge. So what is a cloudburst? It's an extreme weather event where 100 millimeters or more rainfall can happen within just 1 hour. Overwhelming natural drainage and, of course, triggering flash floods, particularly in hilly areas, landslides and destruction follows. In a span of hours, 3 back-to-back cloudbursts have struck Uttarakhand's Uttarkashi district, unleashing devastating flash floods and landslides across these high-altitude regions. The first one, as I mentioned, in Dharali, this was the worst hit zone. A torrent of water and debris tore through the village, washing away everything in its path. Then the second cloudburst at Sukhi Top, triggering landslides and blocking key connecting roads. It has cut off rescue access routes temporarily. Harshal, the other popular tourist spot, has been affected as flooding disrupted riverside hotels, camps. Tourists were evacuated amidst rising river levels. Why does it happen? It happens when rapid upward air movement takes place. Warm, moist air rises quickly, but it also cools rapidly and therefore condenses. Orographic lift created in hills or mountains, they force the moist air upwards, enhancing rainfall. Atmospheric instability can also lend to this. Unstable weather conditions intensify this process. And of course, we do know that there have been issues related to climate change. There has been issues related to construction and, of course, the livelihoods that are sustained in these areas as well. Let's take a look at some of the latest ground reports from Uttarkashi.
The visual that you are seeing on your screens right now at this point is the helicopter that is being used for the rescue operations over here. They are bringing in the injured all the way from Dharali out here near Uttarkashi, where they are being transported to the nearest hospital. These helicopters are the helicopters that actually take tourists from this location all the way up to Dharali and then eventually to Gangotri as well. These are the visuals that you are seeing. These helicopters are continuously going to and fro between these locations, trying to make sure that each and every person who needs any sort of a help, they can be given that help at this point. Over here you can see that how the NDRF teams, SDRF teams are now trying to rush inside the helicopter, and they are trying to get more boots on the ground. This is the main focus of the administration at this point in time. They will be making sure that maximum number of soldiers, the NDRF people, are allowed get on ground zero and help in the rescue and search operations at this point in time. Definitely this entire rescue operation has picked up pace at this point, but yet again another thing that is of grave concern is the inclement weather that is yet again engulfing this entire area. The clouds have yet again gathered over here, and it is likely that over the next few hours there will be more intense clouds that will be present over here, and that could eventually mean that these rescue operations that are being done by helicopters, that could actually come to an end. So all hopes on the rain gods now. If they make sure that the rain does not happen, then these rescue operations could continue. Till now they have been able to successfully get at least 15 people out of the hospital, out of Dharali, and they have at least 2 of them who were critically injured have now been admitted to a hospital as well. So yes, the situation still remains very, very grave. Roads are still broken. The situation on the ground still remains tense. There is very little that the administration can do at this point in time to make sure that the rescue operations happen at a very, very brisk pace. The helicopter has just left, taking the SDRF and the NDRF teams to the rescue, to ground zero, to make sure that the rescue operations happen at a brisk pace. Now the need of the hour is to transport heavy machinery over there, so that the sludge that is collected over there, that sludge could actually be removed, and then eventually all these people can be taken out safely and be put on safe places. How quickly can that happen? That is something that only time will tell.
आलू की बताइए, आप कहाँ गए थे?
हम गंगोत्री गए थे 4 तारीख को। दोस्तों का सडन प्लान बनता है और 200 किलोमीटर गंगोत्री है, तो हम 5 घंटे में गंगोत्री पहुंच जाते हैं। अप्रोक्स रात के 11 बज जाते हैं गंगोत्री पहुंचते हुए, सॉरी हर्षिल पहुंचते हुए। हम पहले हर्षिल स्टे करते हैं और अगले दिन गंगोत्री जाने का प्लान करते हैं। फिर उसके बाद हम अगले दिन गंगोत्री निकलते हैं 1 बजे सुबह उठ के, और हम जो हादसा जहाँ पर हुआ है वो 1:15 को हम उस जगह क्रॉस कर देते हैं। हादसा हुआ है धराली को, हाँ धराली को, और हादसा हुआ है 1:30 पे। तो बस हम वहाँ से क्रॉस कर देते हैं, और फिर अब थोड़ी देर बाद पता लगता है हमें, जब हम वापस आ रहे होते हैं, कि आगे रोड बंद है क्योंकि बहुत ज़्यादा ये मलबा आ गया है और 2 बादल फटे हैं साथ में। तो फिर वहाँ बहुत पैनिक सिचुएशन आती है, घर वालों को कॉल कैसे करना है, बिल्कुल नेटवर्क तो है ही नहीं। आगे हर्षिल गंगोत्री से आगे 50 किलोमीटर तक नेटवर्क नहीं है, बिल्कुल नेटवर्क नहीं है।
तो आपके हाथ में हेलमेट भी है, आप आए हेलीकॉप्टर से?
हाँ, बाइक लेके गए थे ना इधर से, तो इधर से तो बाइक से गए थे। बाइक गंगोत्री में पार्क करी, फिर हर्षिल वापस आए जैसे तैसे करके। एक पतली सी रास्ता जाती है पीछे से पहाड़ों के, वहाँ से हम हर्षिल आए, दोबारा से हर्षिल से फिर रेस्क्यू टीम।
धराली का क्या मंजर देखा आपने?
हाँ, बहुत ज़्यादा, मतलब ऐसे बहुत ज़्यादा मलबा आ रखा है नीचे, पानी ऐसा झील बन गया है, पूरा रोड ऐसा लग रहा है कि हाँ झील बन गया है। और मैच में हमारे फ्रेंड्स आ गए हैं।
The relief and rescue operations, which began soon after the cloudburst hit, continue on a war footing, but they are facing many problems. It's not an easy situation. Authorities are facing several challenges. Incessant rains continue. Remember, red alerts have also been issued for many parts of Uttarakhand. Still, chopper operations therefore have been hit due to inclement weather and poor visibility. It is already a difficult terrain. Now, with many roads washed out, it is of course stalling ground access. Landslides, smaller ones also have taken place at many routes, so they have slowed down the pace of rescue. There's therefore poor connectivity. Communications have also broke down. In fact, communication networks are not available as they should. Collapsed infrastructure, damaged roads, bridges are all hindering operations, but the priority continues to be to take out those who may still be trapped in upper regions, but also those who may be struggling for their life as far as this water and sludge situation is concerned.
Even as the Uttarakhand administration is trying to clear the roads and make sure that the roads are motorable for essential services at this point in time, but yet again, the nature is not letting them do so. At this point in time, I am reporting from approximately 30 to 35 kilometers away from Dharali, that is the epicenter of the entire incident that happened yesterday. And today, while we are traveling towards that, I'll just try and show you in the visuals over here. This is the only road that actually connects the rest of Uttarakhand to Dharali over here. But this entire road, which has already been blocked by several landslides that have happened, yet again this road has in fact been washed away in this entire incident. So definitely this is being seen as a massive incident that has happened over here at this point in time, and the situation on the ground still remains very tense as people are still trying to cross over from this entire road, trying to reach anywhere close to Dharali and trying to help in any way or the other. But this is the only way through which help can actually reach the people who are in dire need of it. But over here on ground zero, yet again, the entire road has been washed away in this landslide that has happened. You can see the travasity that can be seen on the screens right now. This is how the road has altogether washed away. Half of the road has been washed away. Fresh cracks have been developed on these roads, and these roads are absolutely unsafe to travel at this point in time.
ऐसा जिस तरीके के मौसम विभाग ने अलर्ट जारी कर रखा उस हिसाब से सवेरे तक लगातार बारिश होती रही। कल से लगातार यहाँ बारिश है। अभी थोड़ा मौसम साथ दिया। अभी एक हेलीकॉप्टर भी आसमान में उड़ते हुए दिखा है, क्योंकि वो जो देहरादून से निकला है बताया जा रहा है। ऊपर से वो रेखी कर रहा है कि कहाँ पे किस तरीके से जो रसद सामग्री है वो भेजी जाए, किस तरीके जो एनडीआरएफ एसडीआरएफ की जो टीमें हैं वो अलग अलग स्पॉटों पर रुकी पड़ी हैं, क्योंकि रास्ते पूरे टूट चुके हैं। तो उनको रेस्क्यू तक ले जाने के लिए अभी एक हेलीकॉप्टर ने हवाई सर्वे तो किया है, लेकिन अभी तक हम बात करें कि सड़क मार्ग से वहाँ पे यानी कि जो हर्सिल है, हर्सिल तक एक भी टीम नहीं पहुँच पाई। खुद जिलाधिकारी और एसपी यहाँ पे कुछ देर पहले मौजूद थे और वो भी यहाँ से वापस लौट गए, क्योंकि सड़क पूरी वॉश आउट हो चुके हैं। कई जगह ऐसे पैच जो आप मेरे पीछे देख सकते हैं कि इतने बड़े बड़े जो पैच हैं, ये कई जगह ये पैच यहाँ से कई जगह ऐसे हैं जहाँ पर इस तरीके के पैचेस देखने को मिल रहे हैं। सबसे ज़्यादा दिक्कतें हैं इन सड़कों को बनाने में। जब तक ये सड़कें नहीं बनेंगी तब तक रसद सामग्री मौके तक पहुंचाना बड़ी चुनौती है। और प्रशासन भले ही दावे कई बार कर रहा है कि हमने वहाँ पे पूरी टीमें भिजवा दी है, क्योंकि आर्मी की टीम वहाँ सबसे पहले गई थी जिन्होंने रेस्क्यू का अभियान चलाया था। उसके बाद एसडीआरएफ की जो टीम जो कि गंगोत्री में थी वो टीम भी वहाँ मौके पे पहुंची। उन दोनों टीमों ने वहाँ पे भले ही रेस्क्यू का काम शुरू किया है, वो 24 घंटे वहाँ रेस्क्यू काम जारी है, लेकिन सबसे ज़्यादा दिक्कतें अभी भी वहाँ पे इसलिए हैं क्योंकि यहाँ से ना तो रसद सामग्री जा पा रही है और ना ही यहाँ से जो रेस्क्यू टीमें यहाँ से आगे बढ़ पा रही है। जी,
वे खतरनाक स्थिति थी और बहुत ज़्यादा डरावनी स्थिति थी यहाँ पे। ये कार्बन आया 1:30 पे आया, हम इधर से पासे में, फिर देखा हमने कई आदमी उड़ के जा रहे थे नीचे, कई मकान बह गए, इधर हट थे, सारे पेड़ थे सारे खत्म हो गए।
पता ही नहीं चला, एकदम जबरदस्त में आ गई ये, आदमी भाग भी नहीं पाया वहाँ।
उसमें इतना भयंकर दैवीय आपदा है कि जिसमें कि लोगों को भागने तक का मौका नहीं मिला, और इसमें कि काफ़ी लोगों का मिसहैपनिंग होने की जो बात आई सामने, बहुत भयंकर था। मुश्किल से 10 सेकंड का पूरा फ्लड था, उसके बाद नॉर्मल वाटर था।
And finally, Prime Minister Narendra Modi today dedicated Kartavya Bhavan to the country, calling it a symbol of unwavering resolve and continuous efforts towards public service. He stated that the Kartavya Bhavan will not only help in faster delivery of policies and schemes, but will also give fresh momentum to the nation's development. He said Kartavya Bhavan reflects our commitment to build a developed and self-reliant India.
इस कर्तव्य भवन के निर्माण में जिसका आज उद्घाटन हो रहा है, बहुत से सहयोगी अधिकारीगण और निर्माण में लगे सभी कामगार, इन सब बंधुओं का जिन्होंने इसमें सहयोग किया है, उन सब का भी मैं बहुत बहुत अभिनंदन करता हूं। माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी, आज के इस अवसर पर मैं विशेष रूप से आपका धन्यवाद करना चाहता हूं कि आपने न केवल समय की जरूरत को देखते हुए बल्कि कर्तव्य पथ के रूप में नए ऑफिस भवनों को बनाने के इस नए भारत, बदलते भारत और विकसित भारत की इस तस्वीर का विचार हमको दिया है। देश की आजादी के 68 साल के बाद हमारी सारे सरकारी कार्य प्रणाली में एक नए कार्य का शुभारंभ हो रहा है। जनसेवा के कदमों को बढ़ाते हुए कर्मयोगी बनकर राजपथ के बजाय कर्तव्य पथ पर चलने की परंपरा ये आपने शुरू करवाई है। इस राजपथ को कर्तव्य पथ का नाम ये आप ही के द्वारा दिया गया है। कार्यस्थलों को कर्तव्य भवनों का ये नाम दिया गया है। 10 कर्तव्य भवनों की निर्माण श्रृंखला में कर्तव्य भवन 3 का सबसे पहले आदरणीय प्रधानमंत्री जी ने आज उद्घाटन किया है। मैं इस अवसर पर आप सबका
आज वंताराचे अधिकारी सीईओ विहानजी परत दुसऱ्यांदा कोल्हापूरला या ठिकाणी आले आणि पत्र घेऊन आले की या पत्रामध्ये त्यांनी क्लिअर उल्लेख केला आहे की वंतारा नांदणी मठामध्ये अतिशय चांगल्या पद्धतीनं माधुरीसाठी आपल्या हत्तींसाठी जे वातावरण हत्तीला लागतंय त्या सगळ्या वातावरणाची इन्फ्रास्ट्रक्चर आपल्या नांदणीमध्ये मठाच्या जागेमध्ये मठाच्या मालकीमध्ये उभं करायचा पॉझिटिव्ह अप्रोच वंतारांनी लेखी त्या ठिकाणी दिलाय आणि खात्री आहे की ह्या माध्यमातून रिव्ह्यू पिटिशन महाराष्ट्र शासन मठ आणि वंतारा एकत्रित येऊन जर कोर्टामध्ये सुप्रीम कोर्टामध्ये दाखल झालं तर 100% आम्हाला खात्री आहे की ह्याच्यामध्ये पॉझिटिव्ह येऊन आपली माधुरी परत कोल्हापूरला या ठिकाणी नांदणीमध्ये या ठिकाणी येईल.
पहले आप बोलो, बाद में स्वामी जी बोलेंगे.
So you heard from the officials of Vantara, CEO of Vantara, Vihan Karni, a short while ago. This is after an agreement has been reached.
हम स्वामी जी के पास आए जब ये अर्जी लेके ये लेटर लेके कि वंतारा स्वामी जी के साथ मठ के मिल के साथ हम यहाँ एक घर माधुरी के लिए बना सकते हैं जहाँ माधुरी वापस अपने कोल्हापुर वासी अपने फैमिली के पास वापस आ सकती है. मैं खाली ये कहना चाहता हूँ कि ना वंतारा ना अनंत अंबानी जी जो वंतारा के पीछे इतना उन्होंने अच्छा काम किया है, किसी का कभी भी यह उद्देश्य नहीं था कि हम किसी को भी ठेस पहुँचाए, कोई भी सेंटिमेंट को हर्ट करे.
Brought to you by This is News 18 Network. India's largest news network.
Uttarakhand Chief Minister Pushkar Singh Dhami has reached Uttarkashi. Do remember, he's going to be in Uttarkashi. He's going to be camping for the next 2 days to personally monitor the rescue work. He will be visiting Dharali village where the cloudburst incident in fact took place yesterday afternoon, and the Chief Minister will be camping, like I said, for the next 2 days in Uttarkashi itself. He's also said, and I quote, all agencies are working there. The Indian Army, the NDRF, SDRF and locals all are involved in the rescue work. Around 130 people have been rescued so far. Search operations still ongoing. Some roads and bridges have also been damaged. All of that is being monitored by the Chief Minister. He's also had a conversation on the phone with Prime Minister Narendra Modi. But first up, top reactions we've picked up so far.
अभी जो हमारा कल धराली की आपदा आई है, उस आपदा में सभी एजेंसियां हमारी वहाँ पर काम कर रही है. सेना के लोग भी काम कर रहे हैं बचाव और राहत के काम में. आईटीबीपी लगी है, एनडीआरएफ, एसडीआरएफ और स्थानीय लोग, सभी लोग आगे आकर, हमारे जनप्रतिनिधि भी सभी लोग बचाव के काम में लगे हैं. कल लगभग 130 के लगभग लोगों को रात को रेस्क्यू किया गया है और अभी लगातार खोजबीन जारी है. रास्तों में चूँकि काफ़ी ज़्यादा मौसम ख़राब होने के कारण से अनेक स्थानों पर मार्गों का जो संपर्क है वो कट गया है और कुछ पुल भी जो है क्षतिग्रस्त हो गए हैं। उसके कारण से वहाँ पर पहुँचना भी मुश्किल हो रहा है, लेकिन उसके बावजूद भी सभी एजेंसियाँ, सभी लोग जो वहाँ पर पहुँच गए हैं, रेस्क्यू के काम में लगे हैं। हमने राज्य के स्तर पर भी 10 डिप्टी एसपी, 3 एसपी और लगभग 160 पुलिसकर्मी भी इस काम में लगाए हैं जो राहत और बचाव के काम को करेंगे। इसी प्रकार से आपदा राहत का जो परिचालन केंद्र है देहरादून का, वो 24 घंटे काम कर रहा है, 24 घंटे समन्वय बना रहा है। वहाँ से 3 वरिष्ठ अधिकारी भी इस आपदा के लिए डिप्यूट किए गए हैं, जो यहाँ पर पहले अपनी सेवा देकर गए हैं डीएम के रूप में या अन्य किसी जिम्मेदारी पर यहाँ पर रहे हैं। गृह सचिव श्री शैलेश बगोली को पूरे 24 घंटे के लिए आपदा परिचालन केंद्र का वहाँ पर समन्वय का काम उनके पास है। वो सभी से बात कर रहे हैं, सभी एजेंसियों से सभी प्रकार की आपदा प्रबंधन जो हमारा डिपार्टमेंट है वो सभी प्रकार के जो नए इक्विपमेंट्स हैं उनको उपलब्ध कराने का काम कर रहा है। सेना के हेलीकॉप्टर भी तैनात हैं। जैसे ही ये जो मौसम ठीक होता है तो वो सेना के हेलीकॉप्टरों से भी रेस्क्यू अभियान किया जाएगा। भोजन पैकेट इत्यादि बनाए गए हैं, भोजन सामग्री की कमी न हो, डॉक्टरों की टीम भी बनाई गई है। इसके साथ साथ खाद्य विभाग भी पूरी तरह से एक्टिवेट है। बिजली की जो सप्लाई है कल पूरी तरह से वो लाइनें क्षतिग्रस्त हो गई थी। बिजली को फिर से रिस्टोर करने का काम तेजी से चल रहा है, नई केबल डालकर, क्योंकि मौसम बड़ी चुनौती वहाँ पर बना हुआ है। जल्दी ही जो है बिजली चालू हो जाएगी तो वहाँ पर जो अभी टावर काम नहीं कर पा रहा है, मोबाइल इत्यादि उस टावर से नहीं कट पा रहे। मैंने वहाँ के 3-4 ग्रामीणों से बात की है, वहाँ के जिला पंचायत सदस्य हैं, अन्य लोग हैं। उन्होंने बताया है कि वो सभी से संपर्क स्थापित करने का प्रयास कर रहे हैं। हमारा हर संभव प्रयास है कि सभी को जो है सुरक्षित निकाला जाए। एक एक जान हमारे लिए बहुत कीमती है। मेरा धराली गांव फिर से जो है, धराली नगर फिर से जो है अच्छी स्थिति में आए, सभी व्यवस्थाएं वहां पर फिर से व्यवस्थित हों, उसको हम प्रयास कर रहे हैं। मैं आदरणीय प्रधानमंत्री जी का भी धन्यवाद करता हूं। कल भी उन्होंने हर संभव मदद का, सहायता का और आज भी पूरी जानकारी ली है और उनके स्तर से लगातार सभी भारत की एजेंसियों को हमारे यहाँ के लिए हर संभव सहायता के लिए कहा गया है।
Anshul Singh joins us live with more details. Anshul, you've been travelling through the night, stranded currently because the landslide situation only continues to get worse. Tell us a little bit about your location first up and what you're seeing around you.
Well, over the last 2.5 hours, we have been forced to stay on just one location because of this situation that is emerging over here. It has been almost 2 hours since the time this debris had fallen on the ground, and that too happened right in front of our eyes. And since then, there is a constant fall of debris that is still continuing over here. Yes, the JCBs have been pressed into action, but as soon as the JCB is trying to move any of these big boulders that are on the roads, suddenly there is a fresh stash of stones that falls from these mountains yet again blocking this entire route. And this is not only the situation that has developed over here. In fact, just a few kilometers away from here at the Dharasu bend as well, which is 1 to 2 kilometers away from this location, another landslide has happened. And then yet again, after 15 kilometers before this location, yet again another landslide has happened where the cleaning up operations are still underway. So definitely it is becoming a very, very difficult and challenging task for the administration to clear the roads at this point in time, because it is through this road. This is the only road that connects Uttarkashi to parts of India. This is the road that connects Uttarkashi to Rishikesh. This is the main highway and the only highway that is operational at this point, and it is through this highway only that heavy machinery, earth moving machineries could be moved to ground zero, where the rescue operations could actually pick up pace. But over here the situation is continuously deteriorating. Another visual that I like to show our viewers as well, that water is seeping through these through these massive big rocks, and this could be one of the signs of another landslide that could happen.
करुणा और कर्मठता के स्नेह सूत्र में बंधा कर्म वही तो है कर्तव्य। सपनों का साथ है कर्तव्य, संकल्पों की आस है कर्तव्य, परिश्रम की पराकाष्ठा है कर्तव्य, हर जीवन में ज्योत जला दे वो इच्छा शक्ति है कर्तव्य। करोड़ों देशवासियों के अधिकारों की रक्षा का आधार है कर्तव्य। मां भारती की प्राण ऊर्जा का ध्वजवाहक है कर्तव्य। नागरिक देवो भव के मंत्र का जाप है कर्तव्य। राष्ट्र के प्रति भक्ति भाव से किया हर कार्य है कर्तव्य। साथियों, आजादी के बाद